Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam. I offer my humble obeisances to Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Prahladananda Swami, as well as all the assembled Vaishnavas, my seniors, and humbly request your blessings so that I may be empowered to do justice to this service that has been given to me today. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patita nam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I will relate a humorous incident just to assuage my own nervousness, I think, more than anything else. Once a senior disciple of Srila Prabhupada, in the very early days, he was asked to give class. And he really didn't want to give the class. So he sat on the Vyasasan and he said, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Are there any questions? And that was the class. So I'm really nervous speaking in front of such exalted personalities, so please pray for me. So we are on chapter 2, verse number 44, and it goes like this. Bhogaishvarya prasaktanam taya paharita chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadhav na vidhiyate. Bhogaishvarya prasaktanam taya paharita chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadhav na vidhiyate. Bhogaishvarya prasaktanam taya paharita chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadhav na vidhiyate. Prabhus, please repeat. Bhogaishvarya prasaktanam Mataji's, please. Anyone else? Bhogaishvarya prasaktanam taya paharita chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadhav na vidhiyate. Thank you. Bhoga, to material enjoyment. Aishvarya, and opulence. Prasaktanam, for those who are attached. Taya, by such things. Apharitya chetasam, bewildered in mind. Vyavasaya atmika, fixed in determination. Buddhihi, Devotional service to the Lord. Samadhau, in the controlled mind. Na, never. Vidhiyate, does take place. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. Please repeat. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. Purport. Samadhi means fixed mind. The Vedic dictionary, the Nirukti, says, Samyag adhiyate asmin atma tattva yathatmyam. When the mind is fixed for understanding the self, it is said to be in samadhi. Samadhi is never possible for persons interested in material sense enjoyment, nor for those who are bewildered by such temporary things. They are more or less condemned by the process of material energy. Om Agyanatimirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So who is speaking over here? Lord Shri Krishna is enlightening Arjuna after Arjuna has confessed that he is completely bewildered and he has lost all composure because of miserly weakness and he doesn't know what to do. Karpanya doshopahata svabhavaha prichhami tam dharma samudha chetaha yat shriya nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham mam tvam prapannam. Shishyasteham shadhi mam tvam prapannam. So I will read out the translation because it is expressing so nicely how Arjuna is feeling. And then Krishna goes on to give complete explanation of the soul, the difference between the soul and the body, what is duty, how it is to be carried out, and how one must remain fixed. So there we have reached that part we just saw a few days ago. Vyavasayatmika buddhi, ekeha kuru nandana. How one must remain single-minded, one-pointed focus on achieving the goal. So here, Arjuna is saying, because he's faced with what? He's faced with having to annihilate his own kith and kin. They're all standing here before me, my brothers, my cousins, my uncles, my teachers, my grandfather Bhishma, and I have to kill them? How can I do this? It is better to give up my life and go into the forest, become a beggar. So he wants to renounce. What he thinks is renunciation. And then Krishna smiling, He says, while speaking learned words, you're mourning for what is not worthy of grief. The wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. And then goes on to explain, never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, and never shall we cease to be. And explains the difference between the body and soul. So why has Srila Prabhupada entitled this chapter to Contents of Gita Summarized? Because it is giving everything in this second chapter. This second chapter is so packed with transcendental knowledge that if we just read the second chapter over and over again, it is very beneficial for us because it clears away the fog of misunderstanding, the darkness of ignorance that is at present clouding our minds and hearts. Now I'm confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I'm asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. So Krishna is waiting for this moment. Until now, they were on equal level, like two friends. But now, one is stepping down and taking the humble position and saying, please help me. I do not know what to do. Don't we come across this situation in life many times? Completely perplexed and not knowing what to do. So, Srila Prabhupada explains in this purport that human life is like this, full of material perplexities, and it behooves one to accept the bona fide spiritual master in order to disentangle ourselves and achieve the aim of the human form of life, which is to awaken our love for Sri Krishna, disentangle ourselves from the cycle of birth and death, and go back home where we belong. This is not our home, this is our prison house where we are all in rehab. Learning how to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead in pure, unalloyed love and devotion, ahaituki, apratihata, unmotivated, uninterrupted devotional service, which is the only point at which the soul can be satisfied. Until we reach this, we will always be nagged by our own anarthas, our own conditioning. So now Arjuna is saying, please help me. And then Krishna explains so many things. Especially he tells him, do not be attached to the results of your activities. Karmanneva dikaraste, ma phaleshu kadachana, ma karma phala hetur bhur, ma te stangostva karmani. You are only entitled, you have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of your actions. Never be attached to not doing your duty and never consider yourself to be the cause of the results of your activities. Let me read out the exact words because I'm probably saying them a little differently than what Prabhupada has given, and it's always nice to hear the exact words. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you're not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities and never be attached to not doing your duty. In this way, we remain disentangled from the results and therefore we are not caught in the cycle of karma. Then Krishna explains what is to be done, what is not to be done, and then how it is to be done. Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kuru nandana. How one must be. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. And such a beautiful purport, which I will quote briefly, a strong faith that by Krishna consciousness, one will be elevated to the highest perfection of life is called Vyavasayatmika intelligence. The Chaitanya Charitamrita states, Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kahe Sudrida Nischaya, Krishna Bhakti Kaila Sarva Karma Krita Haya. Faith means unflinching trust in something sublime. When one is engaged in the duties of Krishna consciousness, he need not act in relationship to the material world with obligations to family traditions, humanity, or nationality. So there is a clear answer. What is to be done, how it is to be done, and why it is to be done. So this human form of life is a very rare opportunity for man to achieve the purpose, the goal of human life, which is what? Krishna Prem, pure love of God. So right now we are struggling with so many anarthas. This is unwanted things within the heart. But by engaging in this process of devotional service, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam, ultimately, which is the highest of all, slowly, 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 all the dirty things in the heart, as Srila Prabhupada would say, all the dirty things in the heart will get cleared. And finally, we will actually see Krishna face to face. Yes, this is possible. Srila Prabhupada says in the purport of the 6th chapter, verse number 24, success is sure for the rigid practitioner. He's giving this guarantee. Success is sure for the rigid practitioner. Who gives guarantee of anything in this material world? You go to a lawyer, somebody has cheated me, I have all my papers, I've got everything, please fight my case, do you think I'll win? He says, I'll do my best, but I don't know what is the result, right? You go to doctor, he says, okay, I'll perform surgery, but I cannot give any guarantee. Isn't this happening all? You go to buy an appliance, they say, I'll give you 2 years warranty, after that I don't know, it might break down. But Prabhupada is giving us guarantee. Success is sure for the rigid practitioner. How lucky we are, how blessed we are, how fortunate we are that the bona fide Guru who has come down from the spiritual world is giving us this guarantee. My dear spirit souls, this golden opportunity has come because Lord Chaitanya has come. Brahmanda Brahmite kona bhagyavan jeev, Guru Krishna prasade pai bhakti lata bij. So this bhakti lata bij is very rare. And somehow, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we have received this matchless gift of pure devotional service. So now it is up to each one of us to nurture this bhakti lata bij by the watering and the weeding process. Watering is Shravanam Kirtanam, weeding is removing the anarthas. The anarthas keep knocking us back. Until we reach the stage of nishtha, this anartha nivriti will keep tormenting us. But that is why this vyavasayatmika buddhir, ekeha kuru nandana, is very important. That one must have faith, that a strong faith, that by Krishna consciousness, one will be elevated to the highest perfection of life is called vyavasayatmika intelligence. Now, Krishna goes on to explain, if you're too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence and bewildered by such things, this resolute determination will not take place. Once, Srila Prabhupada was with his disciples, and some of the disciples were asking, Srila Prabhupada, what can I do? I'm not so determined. You know, Srila Prabhupada was very heavy. He said, if you have no determination, you're no better than an animal. Of course, Prabhupada can say that. We cannot speak like this because Prabhupada has so much love for that soul, so he could say that. We cannot say these things. But this is the difference between animal and man. Man has discrimination, he has intelligence, he can think. Why should I take birth again and rot in this material world? If only I steal my mind and I control my mind and senses and engage in devotional service, I can disentangle myself from this cycle of birth and death. And yes, it is difficult, it is not so easy because we have been associating with the material energy since time immemorial. And that is why we need association of devotees. That is why Srila Prabhupada has made this International Society for Krishna Consciousness, so that we can all help each other. Srila Prabhupada said, we are like one big family. Our society is like one big family where there's love and trust. So, we need to understand where we are. We need to open our hearts to our well-wishers, our mentors, our friends, and look for ways in which we can improve in our Krishna consciousness and attain this vyavasayatmika buddhi. Because right now, we are very bewildered by the material energy. We constantly fall for the temptations that Maya places in our way, isn't it? So this is actually a difficult situation. But slowly, as we continue with determination on this path, when 75% of our anarthas are washed away, we will become fixed and reach the position of nishtha. Nishtha means steady. That means we don't waver. Yes, we still have 25% of the anarthas to be cleared up, but we are not going to go anywhere now. We are going to stick to the path. We are going to be resolute, and we are going to keep begging for the mercy to keep going forward in bhakti. So fixed mind and refusal to be bewildered by these material opulences and sense enjoyment. This is not so easy. And so reading is essential. Reading Srila Prabhupada's books is extremely important for purifying the mind, clearing out all our doubts and confusions, and keeping us resolute. Yehi samsparsha jab hoga. Let me read that verse. It is very nice. Yehi samsparsha jab hoga, dukkha yonaya evate, adi antavanta kaunteya, na teshu ramate buddhaha. An intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery, which are due to contact with the material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end. And so the wise man does not delight in them. So once one comes to this understanding that these material sense pleasures are temporary, fleeting, ephemeral, gone in no time, and again I'm miserable. What is the point? I want permanent happiness. I want never-ending happiness. I want a love that never stops. And that can be found only in one place, our relationship with Krishna, the source of all love, all happiness. So here in the purport, Krishna is saying to Arjuna, and Srila Prabhupada explains, material sense pleasures are due to contact of material senses, which are all temporary, because the body itself is temporary. A liberated soul is not interested in anything which is temporary. Knowing well the joys of transcendental pleasures, how can a liberated soul agree to enjoy false pleasure? Padma Puran states, Ramante yogino nante satyanande chidatmani iti ram padena sau param brahma bhidiyate. The mystics derive unlimited transcendental pleasures from the absolute truth, and therefore the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, is also known as Ram. So this can come only by developing a higher taste. Param drishtva nivartante. That's also another very nice verse, 259. Let's go there and we will see how to develop this higher taste. Because unless we develop this higher taste, we'll still be chasing after, ephemeral things. We will still be bewildered by the allurements of the material energy. So, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. The embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, though the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he becomes fixed in consciousness. And what is this higher taste? By engaging in kirtan, sankirtan, our spiritual happiness begins to blossom. Why we feel so happy in sankirtan? Because it's non-different from the rasa dance. And Krishna is giving himself in the form of these holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, he says, my sense gratification is Sankirtan. Because all the senses become so pleased. Just seeing the beautiful form of the Lord, just hearing the holy names, just taking the fragrance of the flowers offered to the Lord, tasting nice Krishna Prasadam. What more we want? Actually, we have been given a very joyful process. 9th chapter, verse 2. What does it say? Susukham kartum avyayam Rajavidya Rajaguyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyaksha Vagavam Dharmam Susukham Kartam Avyayam. This is a very joyful process. It gives full realization of the self. It is the highest, it is the most confidential of all knowledge, and it is the highest, Rajavidyam. So, what a great gift, what a matchless gift Srila Prabhupada has given us. And this is a very simple process. We have to simply stay together. A family that sings together, stays together. A family that dances together, advances together. Right? There's a popular saying, isn't it? A family that prays together, stays together. So if we simply stay in the association of devotees, engage nicely in this Sankirtan process, everything that we need will come to us. Krishna promises this. What is that verse? Krishna says, I will carry to you what you lack, I will preserve what you have. Anayan, yes, thank you. 9th chapter, 22, I believe. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana parupashate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. To those who worship me with transcendental devotion, to those who constantly meditate on my transcendental form with exclusive devotion. Words are very nice. Exclusive devotion. I carry to them what they lack and I preserve what they have. Now, of course, it's not so well known in Europe and US, but in India, people have this feeling, maybe I should worship Ganesh, maybe I should worship Shiva, because this Krishna, Hari, he just takes everything away. He's not giving me anything. Some devotees also feel like this, okay? Some things are not coming to me. I'm just going on doing this devotional service. Maybe I should pray to Ganesh. Maybe I should pray to Shiva to get my material desires fulfilled. But so that's why Krishna is saying with exclusive devotion. We should understand that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and even the demigods get their powers from him. So why go to all these demigods? Why not go to Krishna? Even if you have material desires. Akama karma, sarva kamo va, moksha kama udaradi, tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. 2nd canto, 10th chapter, I've forgotten the verse. Anyway, what does it mean? Even if one has all material desires, one has no material desires, or one desires liberation, one should by all means worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, for he is the Supreme. And Krishna will gradually purify those desires. He will not... Krishna is very kind. He is very merciful. He understands us, how fallen we are, and how weak we are, how foolish we are. Sometimes we desire things which are not good for us. But Krishna very mercifully will either purify it. Sometimes he will also grant it if he sees that will make you better in your Krishna consciousness. But he will never do anything to harm your Krishna consciousness. Always you will be benefited by that. And if you don't get it, it means you don't need it. But Krishna will make you very happy as long as you stay faithful to the process. There's unlimited happiness, unlimited nectar. On the spiritual level, there is full happiness in this wonderful process of Krishna consciousness. And that is why Srila Prabhupada said, chant and be happy. Hare Krišna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And Lord Chaitanya has made it so simple. Just everyone come together, sing, dance, take prasadam, engage in some little service, purify your existence, go back home, back to Godhead. Right? So merciful, isn't Lord Chaitanya extremely merciful? Yes, and devotees are even more merciful. They don't care how degraded the people are, how fallen they are, how sinful they are, how bad is the neighborhood. They just go everywhere singing, Hare Krišna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and giving this holy name to everyone. Because this Kali Yuga, ocean of faults. Kaler dosha nidhe rajan astihi eko mahan gunaha kirtana deva krishnasya mukta sangam param rajet. My dear king, this Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults. But then there is one great redeeming feature. Simply by taking the holy name, one will be free of all material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom of God. So thank you all very much for listening very patiently. I don't know. I can only speak up to the level of my knowledge and realization, which is not much. So thank you all for tolerating me. And we will open up for questions, comments. I humbly request Maharaj to please correct my mistakes so that I can do better in my service. Hare Krishna. Yes, Patit Pavan Prabhu, who has come all the way from Croatia.
What is the difference between the piety created by giving dana, tapa and yagya, performing charity, austerity and penance and sacrifices, as opposed to the piety created by properly executing our prescribed duties according to our varna and ashrama?
Krishna says charity, penance, austerities are not given up, for they purify even the great souls. It is said in the Gita, I think in the 18th chapter. So we don't give them up, but we do it with a desire to please Krishna, with the right motivation and to the right persons. So it is not to be discarded. We are not ritualistic people who simply disregard the needy sections of society. That's why we have the Food for Life program. We offer help in so many different ways to the needy people of this world. So we don't give up these activities, but it is done with the desire to please Krishna rather than in the mood of, philanthropy. You know, there are many philanthropists in the world. Oh, we'll start orphanage, we'll start hospital. This do good, feel good. You know, they feel good. They're helping society. They're doing good to society. But it's all on the material platform. It is not touching the soul. You see? So, Krishna consciousness is, Srila Prabhupada says, one must know where to apply compassion. You don't show compassion for the coat of the drowning man. You show compassion for the man himself, right? So we act under the guidance of the spiritual master and we perform all our activities according to the predecessor acharyas. So people may do pious activities, but they will get material benefits from that. We are not looking for material benefits. We are doing activities which are akarma. Because remember, if you do pious activities, you know, you will still have to come back to enjoy those results, so-called enjoyment. You'll have to take birth again. You see? So devotee wants a karma. He doesn't want to get entangled. Am I answering your question or am I confusing you more?
Yes, I understand that. I just wanted to delineate the results of the piety created through dana, tapa and yagya as opposed to the piety created through properly executing our prescribed duties relative to our varna and ashrama and generally our duties. If I understood properly, when somebody executes his duties, even when they're not as pleasant as he or she would like them to be, but he carries on his duties, he creates some piety through that. So is that piety superior to the piety created through dana, tapa and yagya? Or are all those results actually some sort of karma?
We are talking about varna and ashram and dharma here. Yeah. Is that right?
Yes.
Maybe Maharaj can answer this question much better because I will not be able to go in such depth to satisfy you. Maharaj, would you kindly answer this question?
Dana, yagya, and tapa, they are part of the prescribed duties of the householder. In other words, there's no difference between dana, yagya, and tapa, and the duties of the householder, because those are the duties. It's not that there may be other duties for the householder, but Krishna points out these three things as essential for all the varnas and all the ashrams, including the householder. Like a householder is supposed to give 50% of his earnings in charity, which means his Rupa Goswami, to his household in Krishna consciousness, to the Vaishnavas, to his own personal maintenance. So that's his duty, to give charity like that. And as far as tapasya, he's supposed to control his senses and only produce children for the bringing them up in Krishna consciousness. And, well, that's samadhamma. That's also sense control. And tapasya means, he goes through the austerities like everyone else, fasting on Ekadasi, and now there may be other duties for the householder that explained in the 7th canto, but more or less, they probably fit into yagya, dana, and tapa also. Like, for instance, the householder is supposed to feed all living entities, including the spiders in his house, if he has any. So that's also under charity. The 7th canto, it says, that's giving charity. Go out, and, as Prabhupada said, you go out into the street and you chant, anyone is hungry, let them come and eat. If there's anyone who's hungry, let them come and eat. So that's charity.
Bhakta Doman, correct?
Hare Krishna, thank you for the lecture. So you were speaking about the association of devotees. So can you please give some further guidance? How can we associate with devotees nicely and to not make offenses and not to criticize and to not get familiar with advanced devotees who we meet on a daily basis?
Right, very good question. Actually, there is one very nice verse in Srimad Bhagavatam of how to associate with the 3 levels of devotees. Every man should act like this. Can someone Google it? I don't remember the number. Every man should act like this. When he meets someone more advanced, he should be very happy to serve him and learn from him. I'm paraphrasing, okay? But the first line of that translation is, every man should act like this. Maybe Maharaj knows which canto and which. Oh, okay. And then, yes, that's true. And then when he meets equals, he should make friendship with them. And when he has juniors, he should be very compassionate towards them. And then in that purport, it gives an explanation how normally we are. We become envious of those who are superior to us. Then we compare ourselves or brag or boast to those who are our equals. And we become contemptuous or critical of those who are neophytes. But this is not the way to be. And Narad Muni, I think, is explaining this, and he tells that how one must, every man should act like this. Can you just Google that? And then you will see that whole purport where a very nice explanation is given. Every man should act like this. Srimad Bhagavatam, I wish I could remember which canto it is. But it's also there, as Maharaj said, in the Nectar of Instruction of Madhyam Adhikari, Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, and Uttam Adhikari. These are the 3 levels of devotees and how we should act. At our Kanishta level, we better offer respects to everyone. Every man should act like this. When he meets a person more qualified than himself, he should be very pleased. When he meets someone less qualified than himself, he should be compassionate towards him. And when he meets someone equal to himself, he should make friendship with him. It is 4.8.34 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Maybe we can read the purport because it's really very nice and it answers your question. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Generally, when we find someone more qualified than ourselves, we become envious of him. When we find someone less qualified, we deride him. And when we find someone equal, we become very proud of our activities. These are the causes of all material tribulations. The great sage Narad therefore advised that a devotee should act perfectly. Instead of being envious of a more qualified man, one should be jolly to receive him. Instead of being oppressive to a less qualified man, one should be compassionate towards him just to raise him to the proper standard. And when one meets an equal, instead of being proud of one's own activities before him, one should treat him as a friend. One should also have compassion for the people in general who are suffering due to forgetfulness of Krishna. These important functions will make one happy within this material world. So you see how nice it is? I'll read the translation once again because it's very important. Every man should act like this. When he meets a person more qualified than himself, he should be very pleased. When he meets someone less qualified than himself, he should be compassionate towards him. And when he meets someone equal to himself, he should make friendship with him. In this way, one is never affected by the threefold miseries of this material world. Is that all right?
Yes, thank you.
Welcome. Maharaj, would you like to add something more to that explanation? No. No. Not to what I said.
That vision is attained when we look at the spirit soul rather than the external qualities that someone has. Externally, there's always going to be better or worse or whatever. But the spirit soul doesn't change because of that. Every soul has its unique glory in relation with Krishna, and there's no competition. Every soul has a very unique relation with Krishna eternally, and that's his unique glory. Therefore, we should appreciate that. Just like we don't necessarily think that Srimati Radharani is a great devotee and Mother Yasoda is insignificant. We appreciate all of them, all the devotees. So here, also all the devotees who are rendering service, they're also have the unique quality, and we should appreciate it. It doesn't do us any good to think that one is better and one is worse. We think that that's the stage they're at, and they're going to become great devotees of Krishna, and we're going to be eternally serving them, so we might as well appreciate that.
Thank you.
Start. And besides that, a devotee, when he's properly situated, is only a servant of the previous acharyas. Therefore, he doesn't act. He acts as the previous acharyas would want him to. So this is explained how we should feel and think and act. This is how the previous acharyas would like us to act. This is how we serve them.
Thank you, Maharaj. Very enlightening for all of us, I think. Anyone else would like to ask something or share their realizations? Okay, thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj, for gracing us with your presence and for enlightening us with your divine wisdom.